The starting point we had together with Lord Foster was that we got inspired from the old monastery, from the life of the monks at the time, and of the work of Mondo Biotech, which was in a way the same way that the monks were working. So this was our first inspiration, and from this point on we tried to develop the project. No, we tried to keep all the historic elements, to bring them even out stronger and take everything out what was not historical and bring in modern elements, you know. This is like we redesigned the courtyards, the monastery courtyards. We redesigned the monastery garden. All these historical elements we tried to preserve, and where they didn't exist anymore, we tried to bring them in with modern elements. I mean, there is, as is a historical seat, and there were no cars before, logical, we have to find a possibility to have cars there, but that they don't appear. So all the cars are getting in an underground parking, which you don't see and which doesn't disturb the historical structure. It was the monastery is there since years, and so we hadn't to take care of the situation of the monastery. More we had to take care was the monastery garden, which we recreate, and we redesigned it in a modern way. I mean, for us it was quite easy, because the monastery was very rich in its historical elements, and it got us a very good links to put in the modern things we created, because it was very strong in his divisions, very strong in his appearance, and so the modern elements they can very nicely and very correctly take place in this environment which we found. I mean, working with Lord Foster, it's a premise to do an environmental correct building. It's one of his key points in every project. So this also in the monastery was clear. We will make a very environmental building, which means that, for example, the heating the monastery is linked together with a heating which is a common heating for several buildings. Which is not in the monastery, which is outside the monastery, or which already exists. So we get connect to this. Then we try to work with solar panels and with all the latest technique to get the consume of the building to a minimum. I think there was quite a big number of cells in the monastery to host a lot of monks, and we rediscovered the cells, which will be our study and sleeping places, very narrow, very tight, reduced to the minimum. And I think we will bring more or less the same amount of people which will live there. Maybe during the day there will come more people to meet the other people, and so there will be an exchange of sorts and research. But I think the monastery itself won't be more people living in than they were living before. I think we will pretty much have the history back in the monastery, but it will be also a link to the future, especially with the work of Mondo Biotech, which is in a way the same work than the monks did before. The monks, they also had research. They had big libraries where they were looking after things, they were researching things. And this, in a way, Mondo Biotech does the same thing, but maybe not with a physical library, but with an electronic library. So the way of work and the way of living in the monastery will be the same in a building which is quite close to the history, but will be giving a new sign for the future.